Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, where you are. Welcome to our Japan Pavilion COP29 side event, Net Zero and NDCs, Science-Based Climate Policy Making and Implementation in Asia. We have a 75 minutes side event, and then I'm Junichi Fujino, IGS, today's MC. First, I would like to invite Mr. Matsuzawa Yutaka, Vice Minister for Global Environment Affairs, Minister of the Environment, Japan, for opening remarks. So, Matsuzawa-san, please come to the podium. Yeah.
Thank you, Fujino-san. Thank you for joining us this seminar, Solution to the World. Oh no, what's the name of the seminar? Yes. So I think NDC and long-term strategy is the theme of this seminar. And special thanks also go to the co-organizers and speakers, participants. And as you know, in order to achieve the long-term goals of the Paris Agreement, as set out in Article 2.1 of the Paris Agreement, each country has prepared its own nationally determined contribution NDCs, which sets out reduction targets and the means to achieve the targets. However, according to the Working Group 3 report of the IPCC 6 assessment report, the combined targets of individual countries fall short of the 1.5 degree target, the 1.5 degree goals. One of the mechanisms to fulfill these gaps is the Global Stocktake, GST, and countries are required to update and strengthen their NDCs using the results of the GST last year. The first GST concluded at COP28 with the adoption of the decisions stating that deep, rapid, and sustained reductions in GHG emissions are needed. It calls on parties to contribute to the global effort and encourage them to align their next NDCs with limiting global warming to 1.5 degrees. Furthermore, countries must prepare and submit NDCs every 5 years, and with the deadline for the next submission due in 2025. There will be a lot of attention on how the result of the GST will be reflected in these next NDCs. Japan has been providing support to Asian countries to formulate long-term strategies and update their NDCs through the Asian Pacific integration model to achieve the 1.5 degree goal. Asia Pacific integration model is a generic term for computer simulation models used to predict greenhouse gas emissions from social and economic activities and to analyze the effect of environmental changes such as rising temperatures and climate change. Actions and policies are then evaluated by predicting the future through simulations based on various assumptions. Up to now, Asia-Pacific model has been used in Japan and other Asian countries, including Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and Malaysia. Let us turn now to cities. They account for around 70% of greenhouse GHG emissions and energy consumption. It is clear that cities must make the transition to decarbonization if we are to achieve the 1.5 degree goals. Asia-Pacific model is now being used to review policies not only at the national level, but also at the subnational level, such as cities. This bridges the gap between science and action in areas such as local emission scenarios and local impact assessment, as well as actual implementation. If we do not ensure that global GHG emissions peak out by 2025, and if there are no significant reductions by 2030, it will become increasingly difficult to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees or even 2 degrees. This will have serious and far-reaching consequences for the whole world. The decade of the 2020s is therefore a decisive decade. We need to close the credibility gap by accelerating actions, and we also need to close the emission gap by setting more ambitious targets. Japan aims to show its commitment to the decisive decade and beyond to achieve the 1.5-degree goal by supporting science-based climate policymaking and implementation across Asia. Let me end my remarks by wishing you all successful and productive discussion at today's event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Minister Matsuzawa-san. Yeah, science and action is quite key to having like the more ambitious target. I forgot to introduce the information of organizer, sorry. So today's organizers are MOEJ, Ministry of Environment Japan, and also IGS, my institute. And also we have 3 co-organizers, JICA, thank you so much, and then NIS, National Institute for Environmental Studies, where I was. And then UTM, Proco here, University Technology Malaysia. Okay, so then let's move to the part 1 on science-based policymaking and implementation. And so let's find the cases of initiatives at national level. And then first, I would like to invite Ms. Nameki Mimi, Director for International Strategy on Climate Change, Global Environment Bureau, Minister of Environment, Japan. So over to you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mimi Nameki, Director in charge of international cooperation at the Ministry of the Environment. Thank you very much for joining us today. At COP28 last year, the Japanese government announced its assistance package to promote investments for global actions toward the achievement of the Paris Agreement goals. Today, I'd like to share with you the 1 year's progress regarding Japan's support for calculating net zero targets using the Asia-Pacific Integrated Model, or AIM for short, which is included in closing the ambition gap. AIM is an integrated assessment model, as Vice Minister Matsuda said, which has been developed by since 1990 by Japanese researchers, in particular, the National Institute for Environmental Studies, NIS, and Kyoto University, and Mizuho Research and Technologies, in collaboration with the researchers from all over Asia. Since then, various models have been developed on global to subnational scales to analyze its impacts and implications of future climate change, as well as other environmental issues. Many of the results of this analysis have been cited in the IPCC reports. For autonomous climate policy development in each country, it is important for people in those countries to discuss their own vision for the future, including climate actions, and to reflect that vision into their own plans. In this regard, Japan has been supporting Asian countries hand in hand with local researchers by developing and using the AIM as a basis to formulate plans. Recently, Japan has concluded letters of intent and memoranda of cooperation with collaborating countries to promote contributions to the formulation of long-term strategies and the updating of NDCs in each country. Based on the cooperation between researchers, we have promoted a cooperation between researchers. In addition, MOEJ is working closely with research institutions such as NIS IGES in Japan, as well as with respective embassies and JICA. This kind of collaboration to form Team Japan is also another important point of this cooperation. For long-term strategies and NDC updates, we use the three models. First one is EXSS, which is true to discuss progress to achieve target with stakeholders. Second one is end use. This is a model to assess combination of technologies to achieve target as well as direct cost. And the third one is CGE, which is model to quantify macroeconomic impact to introduce countermeasures. By combining the outcome of these three models, we formulate future scenarios with quantitative analysis that are consistent with technology, economics, and policy. All these works require outstanding expertise in areas such as programming, energy technology, and economics. As such, it is essential to develop appropriate human resources in each country. It is also important for stakeholders to have a proper understanding of the models and scenarios for constructive discussions on future direction. And it is why Japan put focus not only on modeling, but also on capacity building. For example, we have provided specific training on models for researchers, as well as for stakeholders, including policymakers in Asia. Since last year, we have provided opportunities for researchers and policymakers to meet at needs, to learn from each other's experiences on the day before the annual International Workshop. In this way, Japan has maintained long-standing cooperation with various countries, such as Indonesia and Thailand. In addition, over the past year, Japan has also started cooperation with Bangladesh, Laos, PDR, and the Philippines. We are pleased to welcome all of you to this side event today. Furthermore, AIM is not only applicable at the national level, but also at the subnational and city levels. We are also contributing to the development of decarbonization scenarios and the implementation in cities, and we will present some of those activities today. Let me conclude with my intention of contribution to formulation and implementation of science-based climate policies together with stakeholders of Asia. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Nameki-san, for very informative presentation about how the modeling support kind of the national or local level policy making process for having more ambitious target. Okay, then next I would like to invite our important partner, Mr. Iqbal Abdullah Haran, the Additional Secretary, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Bangladesh. So may I invite you to the podium?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I beg your pardon. Actually, Mr. Iqbal Abdul Harun has recently got promoted to secretary level and joined another ministry. I am also Harun. I am Mohammad Harun Rashid. I have come on behalf of him. I again seek your pardon regarding this. I would like to thank the government of Japan, especially the Ministry of Environment Japan, for extending its hand to support the government of Bangladesh for capacity building on this scientific modeling tool to facilitate our country so that we can have our own net zero target. Actually, we would also like to thank the IGS, actually on behalf of the Ministry of Environment Japan, IGS giving us the capacity building support. They have already trained 4 persons from the Department of Environment and academia and experts on this AIM model. So it's a great help for us. The Ministry of Environment of Bangladesh has already started the process for preparing its own long-term low emission development strategy. We have already taken a project. So it's a great help for us because for preparing this long-term low emission development strategy, we need to have some detailed study what will be the impact of this long-term strategy on our economy, on the job market, on the society, on the economy. So AIM will help us to develop some model-based scenario, and it will help us, our policymakers, what will be the best option for us to take, what will be our future suitable path for the development along with this long-term solution development strategy. So we are very grateful to the IGS and the government of Japan. It will be a tremendous help for us. And we are planning to organize some seminar and some consultation workshop from the next year, from January. And we will try to collect the required data, the required information that will be suited in the AIM model. And then we will try to develop that scenario. So I like to thank you again. Thank you.
Very much, Harun-san, for your very kind of remarks for your expectation like AI modeling, and then we are very much happy to having the how to say the practical scenarios for achieving low carbon, zero carbon Bangladesh. Okay, next, I also would like to invite from Laos, also very important partner, Mr. Bonya Kapinbarang, Deputy Director, Climate Change Department, Monle, Lao, PDL. So please join now our the session, and over to you.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yes. Actually, for first of all, I would like to apologize that my vice minister cannot come today, since our minister arrived today, so he has some mission to accompany our minister. Actually, I have learned regarding for the AIM model since I did my master PhD course since 2019. So right now, we also working with it. I just to try to access the financial support and also the TA support for Ministry of Environment of Japan, particularly to support us to develop the long-term scenario for both at the national and local as well. Right now, we also develop the low emission scenario for Luang Prabang province, one of the locality that we already did for energy sector. However, based on the current result, the local authority they also request to extend to cover another sector, particularly for the west, forest sector and west sector, because Luang Prabang province is one of the heritage site. So for the west sector, it's quite important. However, recently we have discussed with the IHS to also to support our upcoming NDC 3.0, that we try to engage more partner for each sector. So for the AIM model, we also would like to engage the AIM model to for each sector. Then we combine to the national NDC. So based on our my understanding, the AIM also will not provide a scenario for emission reduction, but it also can provide some key information regarding the impact on the economics or GDP growth. So most of the sector right now, they're very concerned about when they introduce some mitigation measure, they're very concerned the impact on the GDP growth. So I think the AIM model will provide some key information for the policymaker to consider to accept the high technology or mitigation countermeasure, particularly in order to make sure Laos will go the pathway to achieve our net zero emission in 2050. this is the what I would like to briefly about my decide to see the support from the AM team. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Monya-san. And then, so you also study in Japan for your PhD. And then, yeah, it's quite great that not only national level, but also local level scenario development, especially in Rampraban, where the very beautiful cozy town once I visited last year. So thank you so much. Okay, then next from Thailand. I also would like to invite Ms. Chantasakuru Sprak, Environmental Official, Senior Professional Level, Climate Change Mitigation Action Division, Department of Climate Change and Environment, Thailand. So over to you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for Japan to inviting Thailand to be here. As I was assigned by my Deputy Director General to be a speaker today. For the Thailand preparation of the NDC and LTL EDS, we use the M model also, and as my the policymaker, I'm not go to the technical issue. So I would like to talk about the Thailand climate change mitigation target. We submit the NDC, the first NDC in 2015 with the emission target 20 to 25% with the economy-wide sector and 10-year time frames from 2021 to 2013. We implement our NDC through the NDC roadmap. That is the old version. After the COP26, we pledge our ambition. We raise our ambition to 40% from the BAU level. We get back to our country and revise our NDC target and revise our the action plan. The action plan is the include key important mitigation measures that are mentioned in the energy sector because it is the biggest contributor to emitting the greenhouse gas emission from the economic development activities. The energy sector has the most significant potential to reduce the greenhouse gas emission because it also has more technology and option for reducing greenhouse gas than the other sector. To achieve the NDC target, we need the action from other sectors as well. For example, the IPPU sector, we implement with the clinker substitution measures and refrigerant replacement. The waste sector, we try to do some action in the management of the municipal solid waste and wastewater and in this industrial wastewater. And another sector like agriculture, we do some action in the manual management, good practice of the fertilization and low methane paddock fields. There are the mitigation activity are implemented in the present until the 2030 or in the initial implementing period of the LTS. More advanced green technology will be introduced after 2030 and it will be considered in the NDC 3.0. For the NDC implementation, as I mentioned already, after COP26, we revise our mitigation action plan. We have some outcome from the first year and second year implementation. Result was already approved by the National Climate Change Policy Committee last year. The NDC achievement is about 60 and 65 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent in 2021 and 2022, respectively. There are around 25 mitigation measures that were mentioned in the draft NDC action plan. It's also stood up and is in the process of the cabinet approving. but the action is still there. So for our NDC 3.0 preparation, this is the third generation of our NDC. Thailand is in the process of preparing its NDC regarding to the first global stocktake outcome. The NDC 3.0 should represent the progression from the last NDC and reflect the highest possible ambition, but in a national appropriate way. Thailand is making its best effort for formulate the study on the greenhouse gas emission reduction potential. The study will inform the possibility of pledging the absolute target type and with the reference year in 2019 and the implementation period between 2031 to 2035 to align with the global stocktake outcome. I think Thailand should emit the greenhouse gas less than around 270 million ton carbon dioxide equivalent by 2035. This is an initial result from the M model, but it still have the some process of consideration from the national level. This is for my speech.
Thank you very much, Chantasakurus-san. Yeah, Thailand case is also very, one of the very best case to apply AI model to develop kind of official target for like the NDC LTS. Today, actually, by online, Professor Banditrim, you know very well, he is a kind of chief representative of Thailand M team who kindly joined by online. And then, this kind of collaboration is quite key. AI model is not only modeling, but also kind of human network to contribute to like these COP29 negotiation to have practical, but also ambitious targets. So thank you very much for your remarks. Okay, then next from Indonesia, also very strong team in whole AI modeling. I'd like to invite the Miss Yulia Suryanti, Director for Climate Mitigation, Minister of Environment and Forestry, KLH, Indonesia. So please come to the podium. Thank you.
Good morning, dear colleagues. A very good morning, very good Monday morning, actually. So we will start this week with this interesting session in Japan Pavilion regarding the linkage, the NDCs and the LTS as mandated by Paris Agreement. So actually, Indonesia already submitted the first NDC in 2016 with a reduction target at 29 against business as usual by 2030. That's unconditional scenarios, and up to 38% against business as usual scenarios by 2030. And then we updated in 2021 by submitting updated NDCs. And finally, we enhanced our ambition in 2022 by submitting the enhanced NDC, which is really kind of ambitious in our view, because the target of the emission reduction by 2030 will be done 31.89% against business as usual. That's unconditional scenarios, and 43.20% in conditional scenarios. We also relating this topic, this session in Japan Pavilion. So we already also put the scenarios based on the scientific and technology, which is the best scientific data and the best technology already implemented in Indonesia. So we have, if I may, so we have the model how we project our emission in 2030 using the dashboard outlook for land-based sector and extended snapshot using GAMS. So this is from the scientific point of view, and the algebraic model system and CGE, the dynamic CGE for energy sectors. And for the IPPU sectors, so we have the mitigation action roadmap for the industry. And the last methodology we use is referred to the first order decay for the waste sector. So that kind of linkage between the scientific approach and the policy-based approach, which already then implemented in Indonesia, we try to project how we can achieve that target under our enhanced NDC by implementing the scenarios. And we put also in our enhanced NDC the consideration of long-term strategy. We call it long-term strategy on low carbon and climate resilience. In 2021, we already submit our LTS LCCR 2050 as mandated by parties by Paris Agreement Article 4.19. So the linkage for the LTS LCCR 2050 Indonesia in NDC is already reflected in our enhanced NDC because it is already ambitious per se in our view. And then the linkage as well that under the LTS LCR 2021 refer to the scenarios LCCP, the low carbon compatible with Paris agreements, we put our initiative net sink FOLU by 2030 and net zero emission by 2060 or sooner. So that kind of target, that kind of initiative and vision of Indonesia already put into our national document and submitted to the international community based on the scientific findings, scientific approach, as well as the data availability in Indonesia. Because to be honest, data availability in Indonesia is kind of challenging for us. As Thailand already mentioned that there are several line ministries already being implemented the mitigation action, adaptation action, and that kind of coordination amongst us is really crucial, especially if we're talking about the data availability, which already have by the line ministries itself. So based on this enhanced NDC, we already put the 5 sector, the category sectors, energy, of course, and forestry and land use, and waste sector, the IPPU sector, the industrial process and product use, as well as the agriculture sectors. So our colleague from Thailand mentioned as well the next round of NDC. So we are trying to finalize before the deadline in February 2025. So we are now in the finalization process to put our ambition, to put our enhanced ambition in the period of time until 2035 as mandated. And we already identified some kind of a subsector already identified as potential for the enhanced ambition. So we put, for example, in the ocean sector. So I think last week, Indonesia already held some of events in our pavilion and other pavilion regarding the blue carbon. So that subsector is already identified as our potential sector for our second NDC. The other thing is the upstream oil and gas industry. So that's already put also in our consideration for our NDC 3.0, our second NDC. Additionally, we already put as well additional gases, greenhouse gases related to the Kigali Amendment, so on HFC. So we will have in our second NDCs is four gases, so CO2 and N2O, the methane and the HFC. So that's maybe from our side, from Indonesia. This is the updating news, and then we look forward to any discussion furthermore. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Terimakashi, Yuria-san. Also, the Indonesia, we have very strong AIM team like Professor Rizal Liber, or also the Professor Geran Letono, also Professor Uchok. So hopefully we also keep continuing, keep contributing your next NDC too by using AI modeling. Thank you so much. Okay, last but not the least, for the session one, I also would like to invite the from JICA to learn about the lessons from JICA's NDC implementation support. So I would like to invite Mr. Koji Fukuda-san, the JICA Chief Advisor, support for planning and the implementation of the nationally determined contributions in Vietnam, SPI NDC. So floor is yours. Yeah.
Okay, very good morning and salamat to everyone. And thank you very much, MC, for your kind introduction. My name is Koji Fukuda, currently spearheading JICA's NDC implementation technical cooperation together with government of Vietnam. I'm based in Hanoi right now. Very nice meeting you all. So from my side, we would like to contribute to this science-based discussions from a practitioner's perspective, a different perspective, because as you know, so far what we've been talking about is ambition and all this putting into the policies and strategy. However, those policies and ambition remain to be on paper unless we translate that into actions. So as a practitioner, I would like to share with you our thoughts and also the lessons from our on-the-ground implementation support. Okay, so basically, as I told you, there's sort of sequence of actions in order to get to the delivery of an impact that we want to see in terms of tons of CO2 equivalent, also maybe the resilience as well. And as we recall that we are now into the implementation phase of the Paris Agreement, which means that we need to get to implementation anyway. And this requires really the shift from planning into implementation. And the challenge is not actually new. This is a universal challenge. There's always a gap between planning and implementation. The same applies to this Paris Agreement as well. And so the challenge is how to translate what into how to do it out of it. And that's exactly our we as a practitioner kicks in to this game to provide the solutions. And but when it comes to implementation, we need to understand that implementation means many different things. You know, for example, it constitutes a wide spectrum measures, interventions. For example, whether we talk about direct investment to decarbonization technology, or the direct project development execution, or the policies put in place, such as the corporate greenhouse gas reporting or carbon pricing, so forth. And so there are many different things. So that's why we need to prioritize what needs to be done in order to get to the impact in accordance with the national context. And for us, we are, as I told you, we are the NDC implementation support, co-implemented with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment, Vietnam. And what we are tasked to do is to really strengthen the capacity, because we are technical cooperation, not the direct investment. So we are focusing on the capacity development of the implementation of our partner country, in this case, Vietnam. And with the two objectives, one is to focus on more government side to enhance capacity of government, how to implement and monitor the NDC. But at the same time, we need to engage the private sector in order to get to the greenhouse gas emission reductions. So that engagement part is also part of our support. And what we approach to this issue is that the layered approach we adopted. We are focusing on building national capacity, sectoral capacity, and private sector engagement. And at the national level, as our colleague from Thailand mentioned, that NDCs implemented through a national document, the policy document, and same applies to Vietnam. In case of Vietnam, has adopted the so-called revised global environment protection, in which they issued decree that guides mitigation, carbon market, and ozone layer protection. And they have introduced the domestic so-called greenhouse gas reporting compliance system for the facilities emitting certain amount of emissions. And so this is starting from scratch, but we are supporting the government by designing also the system for the facilities to be able to report. And this is not only paper-based, because the digital transformation agenda also kicks in. So we're trying to make it online as well. So essentially what we are doing is to provide a concrete means and infrastructure for emissions data management database, and also to enable the state management of greenhouse gas emissions. And then at the sectoral level, NDCs basically is a set of the measures, individual actions across different economic sector. So we are specifically focusing on working with the Transport Ministry to work on the NDC model shift from a private vehicle to public transport, but also the introduction of EV, which is taking a momentum in Vietnam at the moment. So what we are doing is to work together with the transport operator, local transport operator, for example, VinBus, which produces and operates this electric vehicle, to test the methodology to quantify emission reductions. And at the same time, and also we should not forget that the NDC is implemented in the context of sustainable development. So we need to really make sure that there's a development benefit attached to NDC. That's why we are quantifying also air pollution mitigation assessment, which our colleague from the National University will be presenting later. And then private sector. Essentially, as the private Paris Agreement kicks in, this is also the first time for the government to seriously engage with the private sector in terms of decarbonization. So they have to start from scratch, how to do it. So what we have done so far is to basically to play our catalytic role to forge partnership between the Chamber of Commerce in Vietnam, which captures a lot of private sector companies, and then the MONRE, the other focal point agency. And we, first of all, we reached out to the leaders, business leaders, to sensitize their mindset in order to change the companies. So we have devised this peer-to-peer CEO dialogue to learn from the leading companies how they are motivated to get to decarbonization and what they have done within the company to achieve the targets. At the same time, we provided the facility level calculation trainings for companies to quantify their emissions and so forth. So the lessons, well, when it comes to the facility level, the reporting systems design, there are many things to be said, but those are sort of the concrete lessons we learned. One is that there are always the early movers. So it's always good to learn from how early movers doing. In this case, we learned from Singapore's emission data management and analysis system, but also we draw lessons from Japan's similar reporting system and electronic system as well. And many people, when we started designing this kind of thing, many people expect a lot. But all the early movers lessons, experiences suggest that this is a step-by-step learning by doing process. Therefore, we need to adjust our management, and we don't expect the system to perfection from the beginning, and giving the system the space to grow. And the thing is that because the reporting system depends on the due administrative procedures and steps for each country, so direct copy and paste doesn't work, basically. So that's why we need to think more how the system can fit into the national context. So that's another element that we need to tailor the design. And also, what we have seen is that because many countries, there's similar reporting system already put in place. For example, under energy efficiency law, you have energy reporting, consumption reporting for large emitters. So how to harmonize the reporting modality across different ministry, but also how to harmonize the technical guidance, usually scattered across ministries into one document, maybe another area to consider. And if the government really wishes to simplify the system, then they have to have a political will to think about deregulating the current reporting system, because there are many steps and procedures which takes a lot of time. And okay, let me check. Okay. And in terms of the private sector engagement, well, there are many things to be said, but what we have done is to demonstrate the business model for GTB collaboration through Chamber of Commerce and Ministry collaboration. And through our series of trainings and dialogues, what we have learned is that the demand from private sector to learn how to quantify emissions, how to set the mitigation actions are extremely high. And this is mainly motivated by two reasons. One is to prepare for the domestic greenhouse gas reporting compliance. But more than that, because of the investor and also supply chain demand, companies are motivated, compelled to report their sustainability reporting on supply chain greenhouse gas management. So this is at a high time, and I believe the more support needs to be implemented to fill the current needs. And then in our conversation with our CEOs, what we have learned is that even though the corporate culture is different from one country to another, one company to another, there are common elements. For example, the leader's mindset is a key for companies to drive mitigation, but also there are clear KPIs put in place. And also institutionally, many companies hire sustainability managers. And then the interdepartmental collaboration is quite good for those companies leading decarbonization. So those are the elements for the companies to consider adapting if they are to move forward. And final food for thoughts, this is just for discussion, but we are in the very dynamic, very changing environment. And what we witness is that many ASEAN countries, Asian countries are now stepping towards middle income country status. And what we observe is the more stronger need for the country ownership and autonomy more than dependence on others. So we need to respect that. But at the same time, our job is really to play catalytic role. And we are just the one part of the solution. Eventually, the country needs to take a lead and in doing things. And then in decarbonization, what we're talking about is not just a transition from planning to implementation, but for transition from more traditional donor support to private investment. I think how to bridge that gap is also another element to continue thinking. And then more importantly, we need to focus on supporting local experts, because at the end of the day, we're just foreigners, working together. But we can't be there forever. And essentially, it's the local experts who will be taking the lead, and because it's their country to lead. So how to really focus on resource allocation to the local experts is one thing that we keep doing that in our TA. And then finally, the multi-stakeholder engagement is a key, but also many people tend to think that result orientation is the key. But for us, for any system to develop and implement, also process is very important. So how to meaningfully engage on day-to-day basis to get the trust and keep on going is also very important in terms of quality, to ensure the quality of our support. So I'd like to close with that African proverb to go further. So I think JICA is committed to continue working together with you. So any questions and comments, please come and talk to us after the event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fukuda-san, for sharing the JICA's initiative. And then I remember that the Vice Minister Matsuzawa-san once you stay in Hanoi as the JICA expert 2, 3, 4 years. More. Okay, thank you so much. So this is the end of the part 1, and we have another part 2. But So let's move to the part 2, science-based policy making and implementation action to achieve net zero cities. So from the national to city. First, I would like to invite the Professor Ho Kok Ban, the head of Department Institute for Environmental Resources. Then he's a professor, Vietnam National University in Ho Chi Minh City, Ho Chi Minh. He has a presentation by online. So, Prof. Ho Kok Ban, thank you very much for joining today, and then over to you.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you, Japan, for inviting me to present this workshop. So my presentation is focused on assessing the impact of air pollution reduction on NDC Vietnam. So my presentation is 4 parts. First one, introduction. Second part, that's air emission inventory and GSC for Hanoi City. And then emission inventory and GSC for Ho Chi Minh City. And the last one is conclusion. So as you know that Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. So we have around 8.4 million of inhabitants, around 7 million of vehicles with 2,000 of factories. So air in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City is polluted by some pollutant and some hour. So the first one we try to, this one is method of calculate the source of air pollution in Hanoi City. And for Ho Chi Minh City, that's the same methodology. So the first one we divide air emission source into 3 different sources: point source, area source, and light source. And from that we have calculate and we have a result here. So in Hanoi City, so the majority of air emission that from traffic source. You can see here that NOx, motorcycle, heavy truck, CO also, PM215 also, and PM10 also is from traffic. And except for SO2, that focus on from the textile industry and chemical industry, and also biogenic also is the biomass burning also the big source in Hanoi City also. So after that we use WAP and CMAP model to calculate the impact of different sources to air quality in Hanoi City. So as you can see that air in Hanoi is polluted, so that we suggest some solution to reduce the air pollution. However, when we reduce air pollution, then greenhouse gas GHG also reduction. So this one we try to calculate the benefit, co-benefit impact of reduction air pollution and greenhouse gas at the same time. When we implement 10 electric bus routes in Hanoi City, and if we introduce the electric bus in Hanoi, then we can replace the motorcycle, car, and regular buses using fossil fuel. And then with that, with 10 different routes in Hanoi, so we can see that the result of greenhouse gas reduction around 7 to 9%. And the air pollution also reduce around 7%. That you can see that when you have some measure to reduce the air pollution, and also greenhouse gas also reduction. So if we have some solution to create a co-benefit like that, that's good solution. And second, that we have a second measure to replace 50% of fossil fuel buses by 50% of electric buses for whole Hanoi City. And with that, we have a result here. For example, the air pollution reduction around 3% for NO2. NO2 is that's a toxic pollutant. And how about Ho Chi Minh City? Ho Chi Minh City, we have around 9.3 million of inhabitants, around 8.5 million of private vehicle, and also the heavy truck. And we have 2,700 factory having emission. So with that, how about the emission here? So you can see that almost the emission that from the traffic source, light source here, green color here. and some pollutant from the poison like NOx, and then we'll see PM10, PM2.5. That's some pollutant. That's also a high contribution from industry source. And after that, we also apply some reduction measure. Here we replace the private vehicle by metro line number 1. So this first metro line will run in Ho Chi Minh City in next month. So now we are testing that system, and this system supported by JICA. So you can see here, if we operate this metro line system, then the greenhouse gas reduction is a lot. It's 49,000 tons per year in the route parallel with the metro line. And also you can see here that the emission reduction, air pollution also is reduced 60%, up to 60% for some pollutant. Then you can see that if we have a solution to reduce air pollution, and also greenhouse gas also reduce a lot. So the conclusion, so the first one, we already apply some model to calculate the air emission source for Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi City, and also for Hanoi traffic, high emission. In Ho Chi Minh City also the high emission from traffic also. And we implement some measure. We calculate the impact of some measure. So we found that the air improve a lot, and also the greenhouse gas reduce a lot also. And but it's not so much. I mean, compared with the total of the city. So my question that do we need to implement a net zero plan for city level for Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City? For that, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ho Kwon Bang, your presentation from the Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah, very scientific-based presentation, and then it's also very important to think about the synergy, like air pollution, the action, are also the carbon dioxide reduction, are also having better health, or having the better economy. Thank you so much, Shin Kamong. Yeah. So next, I would like to invite also our very important partner from the Bangkok City, Thailand, the Miss Woranuchi Sky Kakao, Deputy Director General of the Environment Department, Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, BMA. So over to you.
Yes. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Woranuchi Sky Kakao, Deputy Director General Environment Department, Bangkok Metropolitan Administration. Thank you for having me today. And also, I very much appreciate and also honored for today to join in this event. And I would like to share in the area of the Bangkok effort on achieve to net zero for you today. Next, please. Yeah. For the content for today, I will share with you for info area. The first area, I will give you a little bit on the history of climate change and effort in Bangkok. And the second point, I will share on the greenhouse gas reduction target and related to the Bangkok scenario toward net zero emission, as we encourage with collaboration with organizer like IGES and also JICA and NIST to share about the collaboration to implement for climate action in Bangkok. Next, please. Yeah. It is show you a little bit in history of climate change in Bangkok. If you look at in the phase 1 in the year 2007, Bangkok ongoing effort to tackle climate change action by develop the global warming mitigation plan. In this term, after we implement in this plan, JICA significantly partnership to help us enhance more capability for BMA people to enhance and training and also driving priority project in this plan. And also in this time, JICA has developed help us to develop the first master plan in Bangkok, and also in this master plan implement in 10-year term. And in the presently in the third phase, JICA continue to support us to revise the master plan to align with the Paris Agreement and also Thailand NDC, and driving and implementing priority project in this plan too. And we found that in 10 years, we can achieve the target of the plan. Yes. Next, please. Yes, I would like to show you the Bangkok greenhouse gas target in the year 2050 and also 20 and 30. If you look at this plan in the term of the target, we will for mitigation measure in 5 areas for energy sector and also transportation, waste and wastewater, and also for green city or urban green planning. It is our target to reduce the greenhouse gas is around 10.15 million tons CO2, it's like indicate that 19%. And also for the vision in the 20 and 50, we would like to move forward to net zero for the city in that area. And in terms of the adaptation, we in line with the adaptation plan of Thailand too. Next, please. Yeah, and this I would like to give you some the initiative project that we initiate related to the energy sector, transportation sector, and also the project of the Bangkok governor, namely Ajahn Chacha Sittipan. He's focused on the project to planting 1 million tree project in Bangkok in his 4-year term. But in 2-year term, into his year term, we can make the target to planting 1 million tree. And also another policy is like to develop 15-minute pocket park in 500 pocket park in all areas of Bangkok. And this presently we can develop more than 270 pocket park, and the people can access in 15 minutes or walking in 800 meters from their hometown. It is the project, and also the project to separate the waste. Mostly is organic waste in Bangkok. Mostly 50% is food waste. We would like to implement the project to separate the waste as sort and collaborate with all organization to implement in this area too. Next, please. Yeah, and this in successful for greenhouse gas emission effort, we collaborate with all stakeholders in like domestic and international organization to driving out greenhouse gas emission. We collaborate with JICA and also city to city. As you can see, the mayor of city of Yokohama, we collaborate to implement the energy action plan and also develop a waste and wastewater action plan under the master plan to implement to reduce the greenhouse gas in this sector. And also we collaborate with IJS and NDCs, and I will let you know later. We collaborate to implement to formulate a scenario to move for net zero emission. And we collaborate with IFC in terms of climate finance to look forward opportunity for investor in green area. And in another one is we collaborate with GISS and also Ministry of Natural Resource and Environment to implement for measure for mitigation and adaptation project in Bangkok area. Next, please. It is an important one that I would like to show you about the Bangkok scenario toward net zero emission. At IJS and NDCs has support Bangkok to studying of Bangkok net zero emission since 20 and 22. And this in this study, the scope
in two areas. The first for to enhance the Bangkok master plan and analyze scenario for the year 20 and 40, like intermediate year between 20 and 50 to move for net zero emission. And this study, we use AIM model to formulate the scenario and also to formulate the plan to implement. And in this area, we have more relevant agencies like JICA continue to support technical assistance and coordinate, and also the local company to provide that data. And IGS and needs are very important to support in this project. Next, please. Yeah, it is the study indicate that if you look at the target, the reduction of greenhouse gas emission in 2040 and in 2050 for this ambitious scenario relative to BAU scenario are 56 and 86%. The greenhouse gas emission will be reduced in 9 million tons CO2 equivalent in 20 and 50. In addition, the measures such as negative emission technology are required to achieve net zero by 20 and 50. If you look at the data, the important point is 9 million tons CO2 we need to implement the project, this one. Next, please. Yeah. And in summary, related to challenge and opportunity for air model as we conduct the study and implement, and also we have more suggestions about the technology and innovation like carbon capture and green hydrogen. And another area is we need to prepare for financial investment related to planning and preparation for sufficient budget, and also how to access the green finance to implement in this project too. First of all, the global collaboration, it is like a challenge and opportunity for exchange-based available practice and knowledge to find financial technical experts to support more and collaborated to share experience and like to share the best practice too. And another one is to develop the pilot project for carbon credit. It is an area we look for carbon credit project to implement in the next to move for the 2050 to achieve net zero emission at the target. We need to reduce or more for 9 million tons CO2 equivalent. And lastly, next please, I would like to thank you. And lastly, I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and appreciate to IGS and also all organization and relevant agency to host this side event at COP29 to move forward in solidarity for a green world. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Waranochi-san, for sharing your challenge. And also, I know the JICA support the BMA so long time, and then like Mr. Kawanishi from the very beginning. Also nowadays, Kuromizu-san or like Endo-san or any other JICA expert support. And now NIS, I just joined this group because the JICA's first effort, and the MOEJ kindly gives the very big support. And so then, yeah, let's have the very good the results here in Bangkok. Thank you so much. Last but not the least, I would like to invite my very important, very good partner or kind of a senior friend, Professor Ho Chin Shom. He's a professor of the University of Technology Malaysia and the director of the Low Carbon Asia Research Center in UTM. So over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Fujino-san. Very good morning, and thank you for inviting me to this important event. I would like to share with you the experience of science-based policy making in Malaysia. The key point I'd like to highlight here is, one, is we believe in science to action by using modeling, which is mainly from Japanese AIM modeling. Second thing, we also believe in so-called mainstreaming climate change modeling into urban planning. So I think this is where we make climate change policy into something that is implementable and that is impactful. Okay, next please. In the case of Malaysia, we can see that this is a small country, about 30 million people. We're just next to Singapore and Indonesia, which are very large country. And we have the issues of urbanization, industrialization is so rapid. And we have also lucky to have all the government policies in line. We have the policies on climate change, policy on green technology, policy on renewable energy, and also an energy transition. And at the same time, our national government also have set up certain target that for us, the cities to follow. And we have set up a target of 45% by 2030 and zero emission by 2050. Next, please. You can see that Malaysia, as I mentioned, is a small country, but we have quite high emission per capita, as you can see here, 10.12. I think is for a developing country, we realize this is important and we have to take action. Next, please. And this diagram basically shows us that we have taken action since the year 2000. In fact, earlier than that, from sustainable development to all the policies related to climate change. And of course, the most recent one is very much on the energy transition. And that, again, the energy transition provides a very good platform on target setting for Malaysian government as well as for cities. Next, please. These are examples of cities that I'm going to go through with you. The first very successful one is the Iskandar, Malaysia, one of the fastest growing region in Southeast Asia, which is just next to Singapore. And with the help of this AIMS modeling, we have done this so-called low carbon society blueprint to help Iskandar, Malaysia to go for decarbonization policy. The next, please. And we move on to examples of other cities. As you can see here, we have done another 20 cities after the climate change policies for Iskandar, Malaysia. We are more confident with the modeling and we have applied to other 20 more cities and coming out with their plans as well. Next, please. And then, of course, I think one of the most important sides to action is the target setting. As you can see, most of the cities are targets with very high ambitious target from 50, 60s, 70s%. I think this is very important for cities, mayors, so that they can take further action. And the target setting of 2050 as net zero. So this is one of the plans that we have done for, these are examples of about 6 cities that we have, but we have done for 20 cities already. Thank you. Next. And I think the important thing of any city planning is we need actually a kind of documentation. All the city so-called climate action plan, we must have documentation so that the mayors can take further actions. And this is where I think our centers are trying to do to all other cities in Malaysia. Next, please. And these are examples of Malaysian, some Malaysian cities. We go by team and we go by plan action. So, for instance, I just take one city, Putrajaya, our administrative center. We have 6 teams on energy, urban planning and building regulation, mobility, blue and green, and 5th community, and 6 on climate resilience. And in all, we have about 38 plan actions or 38 projects to be implemented for the next 6 years. Next, please. And these are examples of how we do the inventory. And inventory, we are based on global standard of series, city information reporting inventory system. Next, please. I will just probably go through very quickly. Team 1 on energy, cover renewable energy and energy efficiency. All in all, there are about 5 projects. And for urban planning and building regulation, we have urban design, we have two projects, and building, we have 3 projects there. Next. Team 3, we have on mobility, promoting walkable cities, public transport, and applying mobility technology. Whereas for Team 4, blue and green, we are promoting on carbon sink. There's on planting and green spaces, and as well as water bodies, promoting more preservation of water bodies. Next, please. On the Team 5 is on community. We believe that actually community building on climate change is important. Mindset change, and we are very concerned about the future generation. We are talking about schools, projects. We are talking about resident association projects, and promoting of a good low carbon lifestyle, and recycling, as well as community awareness program, and behavior change to promote a low carbon society. And finally, actually on the Team 6, this is more on the climate resilience, on adaptation. We cover prevention of dengue fever. How do we accommodate severe wind, drought, and flood in cities like Putrajaya. Next, please. I'll quickly move to the third city that we are working with is Kuala Lumpur, our capital city. And Kuala Lumpur city is, as you know, is a big metropolis. At the moment, close to about 6 million population. We started with a low carbon society blueprint with a target of 70% reduction. Then we moved to local planning on 85%, and we hope to achieve 100% reduction by the year of 2050. And these are some of the documents that we have prepared together with the help of Japanese IGS and AIMS modeling. Next, please. And in terms of quantifiable modeling, this shows how the pathway will be like. And as mentioned again, this is using the AIMS model, trying to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 and peak at about year 2030. I think the important thing for any city level science to action, I think one is energy transition in urban areas are important in the case of cities. Secondly, we have to promote sustainable low carbon mobility. And thirdly, we are promoting net zero building and energy efficiency standards for city, especially major cities. And fourthly, we have to focus on waste management and circular economy initiative. And with the help of these 5 main initiatives, we have to support with leveraging data and technology for science-based implementation. I think as pointed out by Indonesia and Laos or Vietnam, I think data is the problem. So I think for city level, we're also having the same problem. So we have to start working on data and technologies for science-based solution. And fourthly, we have to start building coalition and partnership to support science-based climate action. That means working together with Chamber of Commerce, with private sector. I think the case of Vietnam have shown to us that when it comes to implementation, private sectors are important. So in our case of Malaysia, we have been also working together with private sectors, with NGOs, to make sure that our initiatives can be understood and be used by them. And finally, I think it's important to have ensuring a just and inclusive transition. We have to make sure that not only the urban, but also the rural area together to achieve this carbon neutrality. So yeah, these are the 7 points which I try to highlight. And next, please. Next, please. In conclusion, I would like to mention that actually achieving a net zero cities in Malaysia is complex, but is the achievable goal. And science-based policy provides us a foundation for making an informed, I think the word informed and objective decision can drive this urban transformation. If we cannot measure, we cannot control. So I think it's very important for us to work with the mayors to make sure that we have a quantifiable targets. And to achieve a quantifiable target, we need actually the modeling. I think this is where aims from NIES and IGS help us. So by setting up these measurable targets, leverage on the data, building partnership, and ensuring that our policy are inclusive, we can create a pathway for Malaysian city to lead in this climate action. I think let's move on with both ambitious and commitment to science-based policy making, creating urban space, not only net zero, but also a resilient, equitable, and sustainable. Together, we can help Malaysian cities are key players in the fight for climate change and contribute meaningfully to a net zero future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Ho-Chin Sean. So you are professor, so you have a very good summary of this side event. Thank you so much. Terima kasih. Okay, yeah, I know that we are behind the schedule, but may I allow me to have another 3-5 minutes for having closing remarks. Yes, we need closing remarks. So I would like to invite Mr. Mitomori Koji-san, Deputy Director of Sustainability Management, Climate Change Nature, Planning Department, JICA, for your closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Fujino-san. And I'm Mitomori from JICA, and I'd like to thank Ministry of Environment, IGS, and other partners for having great opportunity. And as climate change becomes more apparent and the more common weather event and become risk to socio-economic development of all countries. And today's event aims to reveal how Asian countries are trying to present the status of science-based LTS and formulation, NDC updating, and implementation. And we also discuss how Asia can work to achieve net zero, various aspects. And it is important to take into consideration characteristics of past and policy making focus on the Asian region's context, and to analyze them according to the situation in order to ensure implementation Paris Agreement. Series of rich presentation by speakers made it clear that each country are taking steps to ensure science-based emission scenarios and to move this plan into implementation various levels from central government, local government, even academia support. At the same time, we also found that promoting some measures have both climate benefit and development effect benefit. Like as case of Vietnam, GHG reduction come with air pollution reduction. So it identified promoting both climate measures and other development benefits can be achieved parallelly. So, and we also found that the role of contribution of development assistance agency like us in supporting the effort of each country were also identified in promotion of these common goals. So JICA as a development cooperation agency will continue to support the implementation of LTS and NDCs to achieve net zero target of Asian countries together with our partners, Ministry of Environment and IGS or other partners. And lastly, I want to emphasize pursuing this target. I think some keyword like we need to learn each other, mutual cooperation, and also co-creation are the key to achieve these difficult goals. So thank you again for the great speakers for rich discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mitomori-san, for your kind closing remarks. So, yeah, before closing this side event, I have two announcements. So one is that the Ministry of Environment Japan to support to organize a global environmental action international conference in Tokyo last month. And then like Professor Jimsky, chair of the IPC, joined the whole 2 days event, and then we have a summary of this conference. So I would like to share this information with you later. I'm sorry, I cannot find the time to make a comment from the floor. Please enjoy the communication with the speakers or the participants. And then last one is that tomorrow, 11:45, we also have the side event on Synergy, Climate SDG Synergy. Matsuda-san also very much the locomotive to having such activity. And we have Minister of the Environment Japan, Mr. Asao, tomorrow. So please come back here, 11:45. So this is the end of the session. So please give your big applause to the speakers and then you yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you. Terima kasih, xin chào, Kopun Kap.